The 2008 Formula One World Championship will be decided here.
Good rain in 10 minutes. Good rain in 10 minutes.
But you guys did a fantastic job.
What I can only say is a very good job. Well done, sir.
There are finishes you remember, and then there are finishes that rearrange your idea of sport.
Hearts sink in the grandstands. It's handed the place back to Hamilton.
Interlagos, 2008. Rain hanging over the hills. A stadium of Brazilian flags shivering in the wind. Felipe Massa wins his home Grand Prix, takes the flag with the noise of 1,000 drums behind him, and for one breathtaking moment, one full glowing second, he is world champion.
The world champion, when he crossed the line to win the race, he thought he was.
And then the picture flips. A single overtake in the final corners rewrites the history books.
Oh my goodness me! Hamilton's back in position again!
The roar breaks into a gasp. A lifetime of dreaming dissolves into the wet air. This isn't just a race. It's an emotional fault line. But that wasn't the whole story. The stage tightens. Interlagos wakes hungry. Brazil does not host races. It hosts reckonings. The circuit sits in a natural bowl, the grandstands rising like cliffs, the sound bouncing off concrete and sky. The paddock that morning feels like an instrument tuned too tight. Ferrari marshals move with clipped precision. McLaren faces are set. Felipe Massa's face is gentler, focused, yes, but carrying a softness you only see when a driver is exactly where he belongs. At home, on pole, in control. Lewis Hamilton looks lighter than the year before, but only just. He knows the math. Finish 5th or better and the title is his. Simple on paper, cruel in practice. The weather can smell pressure. 10 minutes to lights, drops begin to fall. Nothing violent, just enough to shove strategy into the spotlight. The start is delayed. Crews switch to intermediates. The crowd hums with that uniquely Brazilian mix of hope and defiance. Hoje é do Felipe. Today is Felipe's. That's the chant. The drums take the words and beat them into the concrete. When the 5 lights finally glow, the whole country seems to hold its breath all at once. Lights out. The Ferrari launches. Massa's first job is clean air. He nails it. No wheel spin, no drama, just grip and resolve. Cars tangle behind. Carbon splinters, a flash of yellow, a safety car almost immediately, but up front the rhythm belongs to a red car and a local heart. The race is long. The weather is fickle. The championship is a tightrope, but the tone is set. Felipe will not blink first, and yet the rain is patient. Control versus calculation. 2 races inside one. By lap 5, the field exhales. The spray eases. The track edges towards slicks. Strategy takes the wheel. Massa's side is simple. Turn the stopwatch into a shield. Hamilton's side is trickier. Turn 5th place into destiny without getting dragged into someone else's fight. That's the story of the middle stint, 2 different victories being chased on the same asphalt. Massa's pace is a metronome. He paints apexes with the kind of confidence you can't buy. Each lap a note, each note a statement. This is mine. He doesn't attack the car, he invites it along. Times tumble into the 1:13 seconds. The Ferrari dances in the fast sweepers where Interlagos tells the truth. At the pit wall, Ferrari fingers rest on radios but barely need to press them. He's reading the race as if he's already read it once. Hamilton's cockpit is a different novel. 5th is a strange place to fight for a championship. Too far back to feel glorious, too far forward to feel safe. McLaren keeps his world narrow. Delta, tires, gaps to the cars that matter. No heroics, no lunges. The instruction is simple: do not invite chaos. When a teammate yields or a backmarker blinks, he takes it with surgical politeness. When a corner looks desperate, he lets it go. He knows the trap of the last rounds, how easy it is to make a small error that becomes a legacy. The title wants calm. The crowd wants fireworks. The sky wants mischief. Massa punches time into the table and builds a cushion. Alonso shadows in the distance. Raikkonen keeps watch. It's methodical, it's elegant, it's exactly what a home crowd dreams of. Their driver, their anthem, their day. But Interlagos likes its stories with a twist. The drizzle that decides destinies. When clouds write strategy. At first it's a peppering. Not enough to drown slicks, just enough to make throttle feel like a promise you're nervous to keep. Leaders calculate. Ferrari has no reason to blink early. McLaren stays symmetrical. Mirror the leaders. Keep Hamilton's risk profile low. Then the sprinkle fattens into drops, and drops thread themselves into a sheen. Grip becomes a negotiation. Every corner is a question answered by fingertips. One team reads the sky differently. Toyota. It looks at the radar, the track, the laps remaining, and decides to ride it out on worn slicks. It's brave. It's reckless. It's exactly the sort of decision that can make you a genius or a ghost. Timo Glock digs his heels into the car and holds on. Up front, the leaders peel in for intermediates. Massa tidy, Alonso crisp, Raikkonen exact, while the Toyotas sail past the pit entry, all in on a thinning between. For Hamilton, the stop is a lifeline back to certainty. Intermediates on. Title back on the rails. Keep it upright. Keep it clean. Keep it fifth. The checklist sounds easy in headphones. On wet tarmac, with a country screaming for the other guy, it's a different thing entirely. And then from the edge of the frame, a new player steps into the light. The squeeze, when one overtake feels like an earthquake. On days like this, the race does not care who you are. It cares how you handle now. A lapped BMW slides into Hamilton's mirrors. It's not malicious, it's messy. He's pushed a hair offline. Behind him, a blue and yellow blur pounces, young Sebastian Vettel, a kid in a Toro Rosso who knows the smell of opportunity. He isn't interested in anyone's championship except his own momentum. He dives. It sticks. Hamilton is down to sixth. The math detonates across McLaren headsets. In sixth, Hamilton is not champion. In sixth, Massa's win becomes a coronation.
Everything he needed to do, and we wait now to find out who will be the world champion of 2008.
One place. One impossible, screaming place in filthy conditions against rivals who do not care about your arithmetic. If the race ends like this, the title switches hands on the last page. Calm. There's still the Toyota gamble ahead. Those dry tires will become skates if the rain thickens. Head down. Find the rhythm. There will be a chance. These are not cliches. They're a rope thrown across a canyon. Hamilton holds the line. Vettel bolts, the drizzle fattens just a little more. Glock's pace starts to fall off the cliff the radar predicted. He's still in the points, he's still ahead, but the car looks like it's been asked to dance in socks. The clocks say it's possible, the eyes say it's treacherous, the heart says do not miss. Up front, none of this touches Felipe Massa. He is immaculate. He breaks the tape with the sound of a country in full voice. It is a beautiful win. It is pure. It is the race of his life. And for a heartbeat, the whole world believes the arithmetic landed his way. Then the camera cuts, then the crowd goes quiet, then the sport shows its razor. The last corners, a pass, a gasp, a crown. Final lap. Final sector. The grandstands are a living organism. Massa has already taken the flag. Ferrari garage explodes. High fives, hugs, tears, they've counted it right. On the other side of the pit lane, McLaren breathes like a diver reaching for the surface and missing. Down the hill, through the left-right, Hamilton's McLaren finds the Toyota. Glock is hanging on with slicks that are now biblical in their wrongness. The car won't turn like it did a lap ago. The throttle is an argument. The white lines are traps. Hamilton smells the opening before he sees it. He trusts physics, not hope. He threads the McLaren past, not with anger, but with clean, ugly necessity. It is not pretty. It is not poetic. It is exact. Over the line, fifth, a single point swings like a pendulum and lands in one direction forever. The radio in Hamilton's ear detonates into a sound that is part scream, part sob, part relief. Mechanics don't jump, they collapse.
Hearts sink in the grandstands. It's handed the place back to Hamilton. He comes through.
Ron Dennis doesn't smile. He unwinds. In the stands, jubilation and devastation swirl into one sound that feels like weather. The Ferrari garage has already begun to live the future. And then it is taken back. Screens refresh, numbers harden. The realization travels like a cold front through a summer day. Felipe is not champion. He has done everything. He has not won the one thing he wanted more than anything. The human heart is not built for this kind of whiplash. The heaviest champagne, grief that stands upright. Felipe Massa walks to the podium like a man carrying an invisible weight. He has just won the Brazilian Grand Prix in front of people who chanted his name from dawn. He has also just lost the World Championship in the most brutal way possible. His face does not hide it. It shouldn't. Tears don't mean weakness. Here they mean truth. He lifts the trophy anyway. He sings the anthem anyway. He places his hand to his chest. He looks into the sea of flags and lets them into his lungs. Behind him, the other two drivers know the moment is not about them. Alonso's jaw sets in that respectful way of a rival who understands pain. Raikkonen nods, a quiet sentinel. The cameras catch Massa's father in the crowd, and with it the collective heart of a stadium and a nation. People came for a coronation. They stayed for a lesson in grace. Down below, Hamilton is wrapped in arms and microphones. Jubilation is messy. It spills. It speaks in half sentences. He's 23 and a world champion and still calculating what just happened. Then something simple and perfect occurs. Felipe comes through the scrum and takes Hamilton's hand, not as a defeated man, as a sportsman. He says congratulations. He means it. The crowd doesn't boo, it breathes. You can hear, just for a second, respect turn into a kind of shared relief. The world can be cruel. People don't have to be. Echoes that last? When one lap becomes a lifetime. In the days after, Brazil feels hungover. The newspapers print the photo of Felipe with the trophy and the tears, and the hand on the heart. They print the table with a single point circled like an accusation. Talk radio fills with what-ifs. What if the drizzle had stayed a drizzle? What if the Toyota had pitted? What if Hamilton hadn't been delayed for a corner by a lapped car? You can do this forever. The truth remains stubborn. The season ended how it ended because the last lap asked one more question and only one driver had the right answer at the right time. For Felipe, the scar becomes part of the story he carries forward. He never turns it into bitterness. He turns it into perspective. Years later, when he talks about that day, the voice softens on certain words. Home? Family? Pride. The title would have been an answer. What he got instead was a sentence he would live with and grow around. It's an unfair trade. It's also deeply human. For Hamilton, the moment becomes an origin myth. Not just because he won, but because of how he won. He needed to hold his nerve after being knocked to 6th. He needed to take the ugliest, most unglamorous pass of his young life and make it mean everything. Champions aren't crowned in perfect conditions. They're crowned in the corners that don't want to let you through. The wider sport learns too. Engineers rerun weather models. Strategists debate the ethics and odds of staying out. Fans become amateur meteorologists. Interlagos gets elevated from fun finale to altar. You can feel it in later years when the clouds gather and the lap count dwindles. The ghost of 2008 is there, whispering that F1's endgames are never finished until they are finished. Why this hurts beautifully, the lesson hidden in heartbreak. Some defeats puncture, this one expands. It makes the arena bigger because it proves a thing you can't fake. Everything matters all the way to the end. The outlap on cold tires matters. The way you pass a backmarker matters. The half second you spend deciding whether to pit matters. The moment when you shut out 100,000 people shouting your name and listen to the car matters most of all. For Felipe Massa, the beauty is cruel. He did his part to the letter, he won the race. He stood in front of his people and cried. Not because he is weak, but because he is honest. In doing so, he gave the sport something it rarely receives, a public, shared, graceful sorrow. You can build a fan base on wins. You can build love on this. For Lewis Hamilton, the lesson is equally sharp. You will not always control the tempo, but you can always control your nerve. He became champion not at the moment of the pass, but at the moment before the pass when he refused to fall apart. Self-control is a talent the stopwatch can't measure, but titles cannot exist without. For all of us, the finish is a kind of contract. We come back because the world can still surprise us. Because justice in sport isn't tidy and neither is life. Because sometimes the person who deserves it doesn't get it, and the person who almost let it slip finds it again in a filthy wet corner at the end of the world. If you ever need to explain why Formula One can break hearts and heal them in the same minute, show someone the last lap of Brazil 2008. Show the red car crossing the line into a stadium-sized embrace. Show the silver car finding 5th in the wet and carrying an empire of expectation over it like a bridge. Show the two men shaking hands afterwards. The man who won the title and the man who taught everyone watching how to lose without becoming smaller. In the official record, it is a single-point story. In memory, it is a symphony. Drums and rain and breath held so long, it hurts, then released into a sound that feels like history turning. Felipe Massa will always have that win, those tears, that hand to his heart. Lewis Hamilton will always have that pass, that exhale, that impossible sentence. World champion at the very end. What came next stunned the world. What stayed after explains why we still watch.